13 years. Why have they never done anything about it? 10 years ago, the dictatorship in Beijing gave the Trudeau Foundation $200,000. They then interfered in 2 elections to help keep the Liberals in power. They've even helped campaign for certain Liberal candidates. And what's the solution now? The Prime Minister proposes a secret committee that will do a secret investigation with secret outcomes. Mr. Speaker, this committee will follow the rule of Fight Club. First rule is no one talks about the committee. Why is the Prime Minister trying so hard to keep everything so secret?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition knows very well that our government has taken very robust measures to protect democratic institutions from foreign interference. Last night, the Prime Minister announced additional measures that will reassure Canadians not only, Mr. Speaker, that our democratic institutions are protected from foreign interference, but those who seek to interfere with these very institutions will be held to account. And that's something, Mr. Speaker, the previous Conservative government did absolutely nothing about.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, I forgot to mention, other than the secret committee that will see secret information and never actually publish any information, there will also be something called a rapporteur, a fake new position that they have invented. Rapporteur. Does it come with a costume? Maybe a cape and a sword? Is the best they can come up with a fake position doing fake work? Why is it that they're trying to cover up the truth, Mr. Speaker?
The Honourable Minister for Interparliamentary Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, we didn't need another reason to see that the Leader of the Opposition has never taken this issue seriously. In fact, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, he said something that was shocking. When I pointed out to him that this has existed as a challenge to Canadian democratic institutions, including when he served as Minister of Democratic Reform, he said, of course, the previous Conservative government did nothing about it because it wasn't in their partisan advantage to do anything about it. Think about that, Mr. Speaker. Protecting our democracy is not a partisan issue, it's a Canadian issue.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Why won't the Prime Minister stand up today and answer a question? Why is he hiding? Why won't he stand in his seat? What is he hiding from Canadians that he stands behind this substandard minister? He's been hiding this for 10 years, Mr. Speaker. Whatever it is that he's hiding, it must be bad. It must be really bad. How bad is it?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, it is the height of irresponsibility when talking about national security, to talk about the fact that national security should just be set aside, that we should just to open up this as if it could be done. Mr. Speaker, it is not something that I think is being responsible. Responsible leadership is saying that every member of this House, every single member of this House is totally and utterly committed to protecting Canadian democracy. The assertion that anything else is true is offensive, untrue, and playing games with national security is not appropriate.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, if the Prime Minister really was interested in protecting national security, he wouldn't be hiding. He'd stand up right now and answer the question. Instead, he hides behind these 2 stooges who protect him.
Order! On both sides, order. Order. I want to remind the honourable members 2 things. 1, please use parliamentary language and be judicious. And 2, we can't do indirectly what we can't do directly in the House. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition from the top, I'm sure he'll use both principles in his questions. Thank you.
Prime Minister was hiding yesterday from the House. He's hiding today in the House. He's hid for the last 10 years.
Once again, I want to remind the honourable members that we can't do directly indirectly what we can't do directly. Now, I don't want to have to move to the next question. I'm sure the honourable member from the beginning, and he would use parliamentary judgment. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, Prime Minister has been hiding this for the last 10 years. 10 years ago, he found out that the Trudeau Foundation got $200,000. Over the last 5 years, he's had briefing after briefing warning of interference by Beijing in our elections to support him. And now he's hiding the truth behind a secret committee that will not provide public information. Whatever he's hiding, it must be bad. It must be really bad. How bad?
The Honourable Leader, Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the member across, the Leader of the Official Opposition, would know well where the Prime Minister is today. He's meeting with the President of the European Commission to talk about national security issues.
Order. 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 I just want to remind me. Order. Order. Resign. Order. Again, I want to remind the honourable members that there's one thing that they cannot do is refer to either the presence or the absence of someone in the chamber. I will let the honourable Government House Leader start from the top, please, and I'm sure he'll be judicious in his words.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And of course, that question was asked despite you saying that it was unparliamentary several times. I want to put as a matter of record. But let me say this, Mr. Speaker, and be very clear. Well, one of the things that we had as a long tradition in this country was to make sure that when we were dealing with national security, that we did not use national security as a way to play partisan politics and to grind an axe on one another. Mr. Speaker, the reality is that this issue of foreign interference has been a serious issue since well before this government. It was a matter that was that the honourable that the member across was responsible for as a minister. They did not take action. We have.